I'm Hasina Karbi. I represent Impulse NGO Network, an organization which I founded when I was 17 years old. And it's an organization that works to combat human trafficking, both within the country and across the border. It's a non-profit, so I would introduce myself as a social entrepreneur. But in the last 10 years, we also created a hybrid model called Impulse Social Enterprises. And this Impulse Social Enterprises is an offshoot of the Impulse NGO network that work with artisans in rural area to prevent unsafe migration by providing economic livelihood opportunities for them. You know, at 17, when you're young, when you start something, you don't mind making mistakes. That's where I think I should say all young people should start young, because we are out there to continue our journey and learning new things. We innovate much more. Yes, I do agree that it's very, very difficult to get people to follow you or to really believe in your ideas, but with consistency and if you have resilience to the issues that you are really focused, definitely the journey is not very difficult. And that has been my journey for 25 years. You know, when I was in school, I was very active with social activities in a program called Leadership Training Services. And this leadership training services actually provide us a platform that we have to be socially conscious, we have to be socially contributing to our environment around us, especially every weekend. So in the weekend, what really happened is I enjoyed doing those extracurricular activities very much. I think much more than my studies, And when I completed my class 10, I realized that at the end of the day, I really want to continue that journey of reaching out to communities that we were engaging when we were in school, especially the children and the old people. And I thought, why not start an alumni? So I got a group of friends from the school who were actively involved with me to start an alumni. But that alumni became my organization, Impulse NGO Network, today. I think every parent will always be apprehensive of anything which is not the usual setup of education or the usual setup of work. Same goes with me, because when I was 17, my father and my mom thought I was going through a phase. So they said, it's okay, let her do all this work as long as she continued to complete her studies. The battle came when I told my parents that I would like to go to a morning college, not a day college. And that came the biggest battle. They said, what are you going to do the whole day? And I told them, well, going to a morning college or going to a day college, the university is the same, the college is the same, the teachers are the same. But I wanted more time to the work that I already initiated by going to a morning college. So that was the first argument that I had with my parents when they said something was not right with me, of choosing a morning and not a day. And I told them, the best bet I told them was, hello, going to a morning college means that I'm not wasting time. There's not so much off periods, so that's how I'm going to go to a morning college. That was the first apprehension from my parents. It took almost 10 years of my work that they saw that the involvement I was doing was something very, very deep, and I was really consistent with what I was doing. And they were hearing, people talking about the work I was doing. But still, when they come back home, they could not figure out what being a social entrepreneur is all about. What am I doing? What is this Impulse NGO network gonna do? For them, it's okay, you're helping people who are in distress. But for me, it's just not about helping people in distress. It's about bringing a social change, bringing an impact, and creating a human right resilience, to the people that I'm working with. There was a time when I was really taking up the issue very strongly, especially getting traffickers behind bars. And that was a time when I was facing a lot of threats, a lot of calls, a threat call, and I was physically attacked outside the court. And that was a time when I was telling myself, is it worth what I'm doing? But then I would say that journey made me stronger in terms of the fact that I took this journey because I believe I'm going to bring changes to the victims of human trafficking. So I'm going to give them a change process. I would give them their rights. If I quit, then what's going to happen next? I've already given this journey for a very long time. So it was difficult. It was not very easy. Talking today, it's easy, but going through that phase was very difficult. But I think it was a turning point of my life to believe more in what I was doing. So we were, as usual, Impulse NGO Network. The whole work that we are working on combating child and women trafficking works around a model which was earlier known as the Meghalaya model, and today it's called the Impulse model, which is actually replicated in 8 states of the northeast of India. It's also got scale up to Myanmar, Nepal and Bangladesh today. So this model is a 12 pillars model which has the 6 P's and the 6 R's. So the 6 P's brings together both the private and the public partnership to avoid duplication in addressing the issues of human trafficking in a more collective manner. And the 6 R is the action. So under the action, we have report, rescue, rehabilitation, repatriation, reintegration and recompensation. So there were cases that was reported to our organization where we were working very closely with the anti-human trafficking units. Now these are units that was set up by the Ministry of Home Affairs as part of the work that we are in the process in getting how law enforcement should respond. Now cases of girls being taken from the northeast to different parts of India, especially in the form of airline recruitment, but actually they were they were duped. They were not into airline recruitment at all, but they were duped to work as service and service girls in terms of escort girls. That was the cases that we took up, and after we took up that case to allow a lot of investigation to take further, we had to take a lot of enforcement support. So we started receiving, I personally started receiving threatening calls telling me to quit from the investigation of that case and not to support any further investigation. And when we didn't, there were different kind of threat that came. So our office was ransacked, our car was ransacked, our team was being, intimidated through different calls. And then I keep receiving calls practically every day wherever I was going. And then when I started filing a case, an FIR on the case of the threatening call I was receiving, in the court premises, I was also attacked. So that was something that went on, for almost a period of 1 year, from threatening calls to different form of attacks, to attack outside the court, and also when an attack happened when my car was, it was smashed on the highway where my driver, he died and I escaped. So that was the amount of threat that I went through, for a period of 1 year. But today I would say, because being an Ashoka Fellow, the support that I received through the Asian Human Rights Commission to create a lot of pressure on the government, on my security, was something that I received during that period of time. And that has also led for me being here today and talking to all of you and saying I'm still doing what I'm doing. I think 10 years when my family was still not supporting what I was doing. After 10 years, of course, they started believing in what I was doing, and they were still having this whole question mark, what would be my sustainability for myself on the kind of work I was doing, which was very natural for every family. Of course, my father passed away, but he was very happy to see the work that I was doing after a period of 10 years, because I continued to complete my studies as long as I was doing the work that I was doing. And so that was also fulfilled the condition that I did not quit my studies. I did not quit education, that they felt it was very important, and I believe it was very important as well. The other factor of why I'm still motivated, I think the organization has managed to respond to more than 72,465 cases of human trafficking, both men, women and children. Of course, highest is women and children, in addressing these issues, with the help of the law enforcement and our state partners across the northeast of India. So I think saving these lives are equally very, very important to motivate me personally, that we are bringing a change to stop any kind of violation which is happening to both, especially women and children. So that motivates me when I see their life is being freed. So the Impulse model, like I mentioned, brings together both the private and the public partnership. over the years, the Impulse model has managed to bring law enforcement to really be partner to the process. So partnership is a very important component where they respond to the issue more sensitively, and we support to enhance the work that they're doing. It was not easy in the earlier time when we started, but today we have full support, especially when they started implementing the Impulse Case Info Center software, a technology platform which was created anyway by an incubation center in IIT Guwahati as a challenge that I have given them 2 years ago. And this is a technology platform that enhances speedy intervention of cases by law enforcement, especially those who are working for anti-human trafficking units, and also giving them to referral cases to address much more faster than using a filing system. And the support services that they're getting in terms of repatriation or rehabilitation packages or reintegration of the victims of human trafficking has been enormous over the last 2 years after the software has been introduced. Yes, we were using a lot of technology, using a very simple form of emailing and telephone and communication. But the technology platform helped us to be more effective, much more responsive, much more, I would say, as time change, technology takes over a lot of things. It also enhanced and emphasized that we could create much more, better response. So that better response was something that we have managed through the technology. Yes, there were, it's also about, when I talk about failures, every step of the work that I was doing, there was not successes all the way. There were a lot of failures, and those failures taught us to be much more, responsive, to work harder, to make things happen. One particular failure is that if I look back 25 years back when I started, we didn't have the technology that is there today. If we had the technology we had today, I think we would have responded the issue much more efficiently in terms of getting more cases, more systematically, more responsively. That is one failure, that we were not being able to respond at one point of time, especially being in a region like the Northeast, where technology is still taking its shape, and process. So I think that's also one of the biggest challenge.